Hi everybody, this is Kevin with Texas Yardman and More, and today I am going to be featuring a video on making burnt pork ends, pork belly. So I've got a 9-pound slab of pork belly here that I picked up at my local Costco, and you'll see this stuff in there. It's right over there in the meat section. You can see we got the fat side down, and this is the belly of the pig. And so what you want to do first is, I've got some ingredients over here, but that'll be featured later. But the first thing we want to do is cut up this meat, and we're going to cut it into strips. So we're going to get ourselves a nice sharp knife, and this one doesn't seem to be doing the job, so I'm going to grab another one. That one's a little bit dull, and we're going to use this one instead. And this one could probably even be trimmed up some more, but this is pretty thick. It's probably at least 1 3/4 inches thick, so I'm just going to continue to cut through this. And what we're trying to do here is make cubes. And so we're just going to cut these up into slices. And this is the same meat that they use to make bacon. So bacon is done a little bit differently. It's cut thinner and it's smoked and seasoned, and that is how bacon is made. So we're just going to cut these, and these strips are probably about 1.5 inches. Don't get too hung up on the size of it, but the idea is to get these cut into strips so that you can then reduce it down to a more manageable size piece of meat. And pork belly is really good. It's probably, it's got a lot of fat content in it, which gives this meat the flavor, because that fat renders down, and everybody loves any kind of meat that has some fat in it. Fat is the flavor. So a lot of sausages are made from pork. You can add pork to any other meat. Pork has a lot of that fat content. So fat is not bad for you if eaten in moderation. You know, you'll hear people, oh, it's got fat in it, it's not good for you. Well, fat also has calories. So if you're in a situation where you're not able to get a lot of meat, you want to make sure that you're consuming this fat to compensate for that. So a lot of people that live out in the bush, they don't get a lot of fat in their diet. So one way they can do that is through meat. So fat is needed in your diet. Pound for pound, it has more calories than the meat. So if you're one of those people that needs calories in your life because you're skinny, fat is one way that you can get that. Like I said, in moderation. There's other types of fats that you can eat, but we are gonna cut these up in these cube sizes here, and you can see this fat, it looks pretty big now, but after it starts cooking, it's gonna render down. So we're just gonna continue to cut these all up until we've got a nice pile going here. And then once I've got all of this cut up, I'm gonna come back to you and show you what the next step is from there. Okay, we're back, and I've got everything cut up now. So everything's in these nice cube forms. And so what I'm gonna do is I've got a large pan here. We're gonna put all this meat in this pan here. Hopefully you're able to see that. And let's get all of this in here. That's quite a bit of meat. And this is gonna feed 3 to 4 people for sure. Probably have some leftovers as well. So this stuff is, when it's done, is absolutely amazing. So I'm just gonna get all this put into here. And this pan is going to act as our mixing pan. And so what I'm going to do next is I like to add a binder, because we're going to season this meat up. So I'm going to add some, I've got my HEB mustard. You can use French's, you can use whatever your favorite is. You could even use spiced mustard if you like. I'm just using plain old yellow mustard. And we're just gonna simply squeeze it over all this meat to get a nice coating. And we're gonna mix this up. So don't be afraid to get your hands in there. Just make sure your hands are clean before you do this. Every cook knows that. And I washed my hands with soap and hot water. So this is mixing up nicely. You got a nice good coating on this. So this mustard binds the seasoning to each piece of meat, and that's what you want, is you want seasoning on all 4 sides if possible. And that was just the right amount of mustard. And then what you're gonna do now is I'm gonna rinse my hand over here in the sink, get that mustard off. And next step is you're gonna add your favorite seasoning to this. So I've got the Jank all-purpose seasoning. There's some of the best barbecue sauce that I've ever used was from Jank's. So it's called the Jank all-purpose seasoning blend. And I'm going to use this. This is actually personally signed by him, the owner. And I ran into him at a friend's cookout or barbecue at their house. They have a annual fish fry, and they were over there featuring, he was over there featuring his barbecue sauce. So they sell this in Walmart, and they sell it at HEB and probably even many other grocery stores. So give it a shot. It's called the Jank. It's a really good sauce. He has 5 different spices. I'm giving him some free advertising here, but he's a great guy. Great story on how he created his business. You can probably read about it on the internet. And it was a pleasure meeting him. And he allowed me to try all of his sauces. And he's got spicy, he's got a sauce for just about everybody. So hats off to him. Started at his kitchen table, and now he's all over the place. He's Walmart, HEB, wherever you find all of your favorite seasonings and barbecue sauce. I'm going to go ahead and add some more. We're just going to be very generous with this seasoning. Probably going to use this whole thing. And we're going to get it all nice and mixed up. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. And I'm just going to add more. I want to see a lot of that spice on each piece of meat. All right. So now what we're going to do is we've got to put this into, we're probably going to have to split this up into 2 different pans because I've got so much meat here, but the next step would be to space these out on either a cookie tray or another pan like this. Preferably a pan. I prefer pans because when this fat starts to render down, it's going to retain all the juices and it's going to bake in its own juice. So I'm going to get another pan and we're going to put these in another pan. So we're going to share the wealth per se. So stand by, I got to get another pan. All right, we're back. I got another casserole dish or large dish made for heat. So we're just going to go ahead and I'm going to spray the bottom of this just for the beginning, just so nothing sticks to it. But essentially what we're going to do is we're going to take each piece of meat and we're going to space it out. We're just going to put them in here and line these up. And we're going to keep doing that. You want a little space on each side of them so that the heat can cook on all 4 sides. And we're going to try to get as many in there as possible. And we're just going to keep lining this tray. And this tray might not even be enough, so we may end up having to get another tray. We will see here, because this was a lot of meat. Get one more row in here. There we go. There's another row. We'll put this off to the side. And I'm going to have to grab another tray. It's always good to have lots of trays. So I've got another large tray here. We're going to spray that down as well. And we should have enough room in the Traeger to cook all this. So we're going to go ahead and utilize every bit of the cooking space. These look nice. It's almost like there was 3 rows in this large pan. And I'm trying to take the ones off the top. There we go. And I've got my Traeger outside. It's lighting up. It's coming up to temperature, so that's good. And then the next step after this is we simply take it out there and put it on the Traeger. And we're going to cook this at 275 degrees for approximately 2 to 3 hours. Till these get rendered down, and then we're going to move on to the other steps of finishing them up. There's some additional ingredients that we're going to be putting in there, but you got to stay tuned to watch. So there we are. We're going to do the same thing over on this side of this tray. Just space everything out here. It's easier to do it in line if you can. Hopefully you can see that. And we'll space this out. As long as each one of these pieces has its own space. And some of these were kind of like loose ends, so they're not going to quite look like a square or a cube. That's okay, go ahead and cook those up too. Doesn't have to be perfect. Cooking's supposed to be fun, barbecuing, all that good stuff. It's just cooking meat, that's all you're doing. All right, so that worked out perfectly. I'm gonna wash that mustard off my hand. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go outside, and I'm gonna set the camera up out there to, where the Traeger is. Let's go out to my back patio here. Sorry about the camera. And we are up at about 250 right now. And I'm gonna run in and get those pans, and we're gonna put them inside the Traeger. All right, let's get this opened up. There's one pan. There's the second pan, and I'm gonna go get the third pan. And I think that was just enough space, so I'm really happy about that. And now you can see all the pork belly. We're just gonna cook it now for about 3 hours. So I'll come out here and we'll do a sneak peek and check on things throughout the process, but we'll be back in 2.5 hours to 3 hours, so to check on it. Stand by. Okay everybody, we're back. We're out here at the Traeger, and we are going to test the internal temperature of the pork belly. So we're going to go ahead and open this up, and those are rendering down. Looks good. Go ahead and test the temperature on one of these. We got a meat thermometer here. So we got an internal temp of about 209, so that's plenty. 165, let's just sample another one. 219. So I think the internal temperature is good. We're gonna go ahead and just put all these burnt ends into this pan that I brought. And you can see all the drippings here in the pan. So you can see how it shrinks the size down. These look good. There's one pan. We're just going to keep working through this. The pan is actually starting to get hot. so I had to set it down, but I'm going to take this one out. You got to be careful because it's got all these drippings on it. We'll set it over here to the side. Pull our other pan over. And we'll go ahead and take some more of these out. Let me just go ahead and set this right on. That way that'll free up my hands. Some of these stick to the bottom of the trays. That's why you spray the pans beforehand so the meat comes off. But it doesn't always get all of them. Started out with 9 pounds of pork belly, and that weight is going to lose some of that weight because of all the fat that comes off of the meat. There, that one's done. Moving over to this one. And just as a tip, the glass one seems to be better than the metal ones. It doesn't stick. So if you're looking for a better solution, go with a glass cookware. I have no sticking on that one. That's what barbecuing is all about, is a little bit of a trial and error. So we have all of them in this one pan now. So I'm going to go ahead and just drain the fat off of this one. Quite a bit of fat there. We're just going to take this, put that right on top of there. Now, there's our burnt ends. We're going to bring this inside and we're going to put some other ingredients in it. So, be right back. Okay, we're back inside now. I've got the burnt ends here on the countertop. And what I'm going to do now is I've got some real butter here that we're going to put in here. And we're just going to spread that out liberally across all these pork ends. And I like butter. I don't know about you, but butter gives flavor. And it also helps to keep meat moist. So I've got 3 sticks of butter here. So go ahead and just put them all over here. And there you have it. And we got a little bit of brown sugar here for sweetness. We're just going to go ahead and sprinkle that over the top. What that will do is cause caramelization, and it's going to give it that sweet flavor. And just sprinkle it all over here. And so we had 9 pounds, remember? So don't be afraid to Put that on there. And then what you want to do next is, you can see all kinds of videos out there, but I like to go ahead and put all my barbecue sauce on there. I already had one of these open, so we're going to go ahead and add that. So we'll use this one up, and we'll see if that is enough. And it might be. We'll start with that. And then I like to add honey for more sweetness. Who doesn't like honey, right? Add some honey in there. Just put that all over it. So you've got that in there, and then what I like to do is add some hot sauce of your choice. I use Texas Pete because it's not super hot. I'm not one that likes super hot stuff, but I'm going to add some of that because you want the spice to kind of help offset the sugary flavors that you're going to get through the barbecue sauce and the honey and the brown sugar. So add some of that sauce in there. And then what we're going to do now is give it a mix. I'm going to set this to the side, and hopefully this is cooled down enough. So we're gonna mix this all up. And get all this goodness on the outside of these burnt ends. And my oh my, does that look good. And that butter is going to melt down, and it's going to add some moisture to it. And what we're going to do is I'm going to put some foil over the top of this. And that's going to help create like a Dutch oven. So we got some foil here. And we're just going to wrap that right over the top. That's going to trap in the heat. And if you notice, I've left this aluminum tray right on the other tray that we use to cook the burnt ends. So that way you've got support. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go put this back on the Traeger for about 30 minutes to an hour, and we're going to get that all those sugars caramelized, and it's going to add that flavor in there. So here we go. We're just going to put it back and be right back. All right, we're back outside. I took the other two trays out of there. We're going to go ahead and just slide this in. And we're going to let that cook. So when it's ready to take off and we can unveil the final product, I'll come back. All right, everybody, we're back. It's been about 30 minutes. We're going to go ahead and take this off. And we're actually going to just see what it looks like. Oh, that looks wonderful. Oh yeah, these are looking wonderful. Look at all that goodness. I'm just gonna go ahead and do a temperature reading on these. And let's just come over here and grab my thermometer. So we're at about 185, 183. That's more than done and more than safe to eat. So I think we're gonna go ahead and take these off, and we're gonna try one. gonna grab this whole tray here. I'm gonna grab this with 2 hands and we're gonna go inside. And we're gonna open this up. That steam coming right off of them. Be careful, everything's hot. I've got stir these all up in here. That looks absolutely delicious. I'm just gonna go ahead and get a plate here. I'm gonna put one of these on. And we're just gonna go ahead and taste it. There you are. That is almost like candy. I can taste all those flavors in there. I can taste the honey. I can taste the barbecue sauce and the brown sugar. I'm not tasting any of the spiciness though, but maybe that's just this piece here. So that is all you got to do to make burnt ends. I'm going to take all these out because you can see all of this liquid in here. That's more fat that has rendered down, mixed in with all the butter and all that other goodness. But this is all you got to do to make burnt ends. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It's very easy to do. Just go out and get you those few simple ingredients, and I hope you enjoyed this. Please like this video. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and hit me up with some comments. And I'd love to answer some of your questions if you have any, and hit that notification bell for any future videos. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.